Hey everybody, it's a Mad Master here. I'm doing a video today. And hopefully my OBS is not going to bonk out on me. I've had some trouble with this lately. I have a new computer that I haven't set up yet, and I will be using it hopefully going forward very soon. Nevertheless, I have had some problems doing this old computer, which is 10 years old as of this moment, or actually about 12 years old. This computer has 8 gigs of RAM. Bought one with 32. I got to set it up and copy my hard drive. It'll probably run stuff a little faster and better. So, doing some recording too. So I don't know when I'm going to set that up. But nevertheless, I'm blabbing. I am going to try to do some videos with OBS and see how it goes. But nevertheless, it's approaching. Or actually, it's not approaching. It is. As of last month, about 5 years since I've been kind of into more true crime stuff than I used to be. I started listening to the Morbid podcast and checking this out. This is one of the earliest cases that I was checking out because it's so weird, and I just wanted to give my take on what I think of some of this. And I know, I'm certainly no expert. Now, my father has written like 4 or 5 true crime books. One of them fiction, by the way. I'm not going to give out who that is, but he is a local reporter of somewhat known stature here where I live. So he actually exposed a lot of things too about a certain person that was kind of a renowned person here too. And nevertheless, I'm not going to go into that, but it probably runs in the family is my point. Maybe a little bit, this true crime thing. So without further ado, I'm going to do this video. So this is these are my thoughts on this whole ransom note thing with JonBenét Ramsey, and my just some observations on what I think some of the impetus behind, or just the thoughts. I just hypothetical, just before, as a disclaimer, I am not accusing anybody. I'm not saying anything, just in case, I know they're, even though one of them was a January 6th flat earther that worked for the family. It's one thing being January 6th, but if you're a flat earther and you're working for the Ramsey family, one of their lawyers, Lynn Wood. So, allegedly. So, it's very strange. But nevertheless, I'm going to talk about this. I'm not saying anything. I'm just giving some thoughts, some vibes, just in case they want to, I don't think anybody's going to watch. I don't think they're going to watch this video because there's probably hundreds of videos like this. But, they're known for some things sometimes. So, I just wanted to give my thoughts on this. And I'm just going to go through the one by one, the lines of this ransom note. And there's plenty of stuff on the internet about the ransom note at this point. One of the things that I'm not going to go into is whether or not Patsy wrote it or the handwriting. There's people that say things on both ends, I personally think that it's highly likely she wrote it, and that's just the way it is. But, I could be wrong, So I'm just going to go into the verbiage and the language and what I think, because I look at documents for a living, so I literally do now. And I was going to go into this. So, Mr. Ramsey, okay, listen carefully. So why isn't, one of the things, it's just one person, saying this. Why aren't they saying it to Patsy as well, the Ramseys or something? That's interesting. That's one thing that I want to note. Why is it addressed to him? Listen carefully. And I've heard people criticize that. I'm like, that's stupid. Because, people say listen carefully in words. They mean read carefully, but whatever. It's stupid when people, it means something because it means listen carefully. All this stupid, mumbo jumbo that people throw into that. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. So I have a lot of things to say about that. So one of the things that I first thought when I read that Patsy Ramsey had gone to journalism school it reminds me of something you read like in the 70s about like a small foreign faction calling themselves the SLA or whatever, identifying themselves. It seems very journalistic the way that part was written, because nobody would call themselves a small foreign faction. Like, first of all, you're foreign, like, to yourself. It doesn't make any sense. So then, this next part I laugh at. Respect your business. So you notice that the word business is misspelled, but not the country that it serves. This line is really bizarre. So this is what I think. I think they're trying to kind of kiss his ass a little bit, like, oh, well, we love your business. It's great, but, we hate your country. And I don't know why someone would, like, appeal to someone's, like, business unless they were really close and just did. This is what I think. So let's say it was Patsy. And let's say they got into fights about how much he worked too much, or, how much he was engulfed in his business and stuff. Like, well, she's trying to be apologetic, like, well, we fought in the past about your business, but I respect it. We came to a conclusion that I respect the business, So I was thinking about that. And then, so that's just how I see it. Like, someone that doesn't want to make him too angry that's writing this, it seems like it would be someone that knows him very well. That said, it doesn't mean that is, but it's just very strange and bizarre. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. They misspelled possession. She is safe and unharmed, but if you want her to see 1997, you must follow her instructions to the letter. So one thing that people do point out that I noticed about the letter is the misspelling in the beginning, and then they spell other stuff that's like more complicated than business and possession perfectly. Like, they decided not to go like I'm going to misspell some stuff to throw people off route, and then decided all of a sudden, or not consciously, but So that's one thing that people I do agree with when they analyze this. You will withdraw $118,000 from your account. Okay, so that whole thing, like, we all know about the Christmas bonus that he got that year and all that stuff that was around that. I think it was 118.56 or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know it's like 100,000, 118,000. Some, I don't remember the change. I've just got into this case, but other than like 5 years ago when I listened to a few podcasts, which got me into this stuff, but I haven't read any books yet or anything like that. Like, I've read Tangled Web and some stuff about Chris Watts too, and like the Tangled Web is about the guy in Nebraska, and I forgot his name, but I know all the Chris Watts names. So Shanann, sorry, I know people got mad when I mispronounced her name in the past. I know all about it. I got really deep in that case. So I'm not really a true crime person. I'm just kind of dabbling. So pardon me if I don't have the exact amount of 118,000, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's way too apologetic. I must have done something wrong. No, I'm just kidding. 100,000 will be in $100 bills and remaining 18,000 in $20 bills. I don't know why they said that, but make sure you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank. Now I'm going to talk about this, and this is kind of just conjecture. This is just assuming something. I think the Ramseys were really into the French language. The seeming like fancy kind of French things. It seemed. And I think that's, if Patsy did write it, she's like, wanted to use that word in a sentence, attaché. When you get home, you'll put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. We all know what happened with that. Didn't happen. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. Like customer service for your kidnapping, like if someone said. I'm like, that's insane. Okay. It's very strange. And I just thought about this right now. That's kind of like, oh, they told us to be rested, so that's why we didn't do this at this time. Like, it's an excuse. It's a way out of doing more work on it than they were expected to do, because obviously points to possible hypothetical guilt. Okay. If you know what I mean, like, it's like they're following the letters. They did get rested because they didn't do, let's just say that's what would have happened. They did, let's say they did sleep on it, like it says. Then, it gives them an excuse for time lapse, If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money, and hence, it's another thing people said about Patsy using that term, which is kind of complicated. Ooh, what happened there? Anyways, I messed up. Okay, and hence. All right. I'm not going to cut that. Any deviation of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. Now we get a little bit more violent in this. You will also be denied her remains for a proper burial. Like, okay, well, it's very strange. The two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I advise you not to provoke them. Gentlemen. Okay. So gentleman is a very southern term, as far as like what women can call a man. He was a nice gentleman, very fancy, very upper class, upper crust. I don't think a man. Honestly, this is just my opinion, especially like I'm gonna be heteronormative here. Just watch out. Don't cancel me, blue hairs. I don't think like a man would call someone a gentleman. Like you watch like old like a groupie interview or like a porn star interviews. Like he was a nice gentleman. I mean, sorry, actually I should not have mentioned that in the case of this. Is pretty bad. But you watch someone who's like he was a gentleman. Like someone like their ex-husband was a gentleman, or he was a gentleman on the date, like your daughter is like, be a gentleman on the date, like the mother might tell you, or something like that. He was a gentleman. Nobody calls people gentlemen in casual conversation, even in 1996, unless it's like a woman that's like fancy in that way, or they're just, I mean, it's a woman, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, a man doesn't call someone a gentleman, except for like ladies and gentlemen, like stupid stuff from back in the day like that. Anyways, I'm making too light of this. It's kind of messed up, but nevertheless, I don't think it doesn't seem like something a man would say that is trying to like do something like this. It's like kind of weird. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as police, FBI, etc., will result in your daughter being beheaded. Jesus Christ. And this is where the movie quotes come in even more. If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. If you alert... Oh, I hate saying this. It's so messed up. I feel like it's almost like evil. If you alert bank authorities, she dies. If the money is in any way marked or tampered with, she dies. Okay, I get it. You will be scanned for electronic devices, and if any are found, she dies. You can try to deceive us, but be warned, we are familiar with law enforcement countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions, and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back, which, yeah, sure. You and your family are under constant scrutiny, as well as the authorities. How do they know that, for one? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And this one kind of, this whole sequence right here tells me the person that wrote this, okay, the don't try to grow a brain, I think it's from Dirty Harry. I don't remember. One of those, or Speed, I'm sorry. I haven't watched Dirty Harry in years. I've only seen Speed a couple of times. I'd like Dirty Harry though. Don't credit. You are the only fat cat. You are not the only fat cat around. So don't think that killing will be difficult. Don't try to underestimate us, John. Use that good Southern common sense of yours. It's up to you now, John. So this whole sequence, when I recently read it, I thought that maybe it seems like it's someone someone pleading with someone and kind of using code, like it feels like a conversation, a dialogue that to me it just gave me a vibe of like a woman talking to her husband. Honestly, that's just the vibe I get. It doesn't feel like a man talking to a man. So that just gives me more points for, it being Patsy Ramsey. And I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying, it's just like, fat cat. Don't underestimate us, John. Use your the Southern common sense seems like a joke because she was Southern and he wasn't, but like it's like her it's called psychological transference or something, or maybe he developed that Southern common sense. I don't know why these alleged kidnappers thought he was Southern, but nevertheless. So victory, SBTC. There's something about sailing. There's been rumors about that, or being a Masonic thing. That was on some podcast talked about that. I don't know what the SBTC is. It's very strange. So that's what I think about the note. I think it sounds like a dialogue. It sounds like there's some hidden meanings, some subtle things that are in there that tell me that this person has a relationship with John Ramsey, and they know this person because it's probably his wife. But like just the way that it's written, and I've heard that it's like the War and Peace of Ransom notes. That's what the FBI said. And, it's a very long note. I think she was probably somewhat of a talented writer, and went to journalism school. I don't know. I have some other theories too, and I can talk about that if people like this horrific content. I just had to do this because I just wanted to say that because it feels like when I read this, I feel like that vibe of like it's kind of an intimate vibe. Like this person is very close to this Miss John Benét Ramsey. Come on. I mean, I'm not going to call anybody in the family narcissistic, but would I name my daughter Matty, David, I don't know. I'm trying to think of Maddie Danielle or something or I don't know what the female version of that is, but it's just very strange. It's a very strange family, very strange dynamics that were going on, obviously. So that's what I think about this note. I think it just feels like this intimacy is there between the person that's writing it and the person who's receiving it, which would be JonBenét Ramsey. So that's about all.